What if the most romantic city on Earth was built over a secret so old and disturbing, even the authorities pretend it isn't there? Paris, a city of light, of art, of love, and directly beneath it, a maze of darkness. Far below the cobbled streets, cafes, and museums lies an immense network of tunnels and chambers, forgotten by time, ignored by design. Some call it the catacombs. Others call it the real heart of Paris. The story starts centuries ago. As Paris grew in the Middle Ages, it unknowingly expanded over a hollow foundation. For generations, limestone had been mined directly beneath the city. No regulation, no order. Just miles upon miles of empty corridors carved out by pickaxes and greed. By the 1700s, the inevitable began to happen. The city started to collapse. Whole buildings fell into the ground, streets crumbled, people vanished into holes that yawned, open beneath their feet. Panic spread. So the authorities did what they always do when they lose control. They covered it up. In 1777, King Louis XVI ordered a commission to inspect the underground damage. They sent surveyors, engineers, guards, and that's when the rumors began. Some of those who went down didn't come back. Others returned shaken, unable or unwilling to speak of what they'd seen. But official reports were vague, dismissive, controlled, and the tunnels were sealed, not destroyed, just bricked up, labeled, forgotten. At least some of them. Fast forward a few years to 1786, a very different crisis was boiling above ground. The largest cemetery in Paris, the Cimetière des Innocents, had become a hazard. The smell was unbearable. Disease was spreading. Rainwater was turning graves into open sewers. The solution: move the dead. But where do you hide 6 million bodies? You send them underground. Over the next 12 years, bones were exhumed night after night. They were transported by covered carts and lowered into the tunnels no one wanted to think about. At first it was chaos, but then came design. New group, the inspectors of the catacombs, began to arrange the bones. Skulls in rows, femurs stacked like bricks, altars made of human remains. They created a silent subterranean cathedral of the dead. One that tourists can still visit today, but that's just the surface. The catacombs open to the public. They make up less than 1% of the real network. The rest is off limits and far more dangerous. The remaining tunnels, over 300 kilometers of them, twist under the city like arteries. Some are collapsed, others flooded, some lead nowhere, and a few lead to things that defy explanation. That's where the cataphiles come in. These are urban explorers, historians, and thrill seekers who risk prison, injury, or worse to map the forbidden zones. They crawl through forgotten sewage shafts, jump fences, use keys stolen from the old quarry workers' descendants. They carry candles, headlamps, handmade maps. No GPS, no signal, no help if something goes wrong. Many go down, not all come back. In one famous case, a camcorder was found deep in the off-limits sector in 2002. No one knows who it belonged to, but the footage showed a man wandering through unmarked corridors. Panicked, breathing heavily, he drops the camera just before breaking into a sprint, away from something we never see. The last thing recorded was his own scream echoing through stone. He was never found. There are rumors among cataphiles of specific places within the tunnels, not just odd rooms, but structures with purposes that make no sense. One is called La Crypte du Temps, the Crypt of Time. It's said to be a circular chamber with no visible entrance or exit except the one you come in through. And sometimes even that disappears behind you. Its walls are engraved with astrological symbols that don't match any known system. Its floor is warm to the touch. Then there's Port 53, Door 53. This one's harder to prove. Most cataphiles will tell you it doesn't exist. Others swear they've seen it, a rusted iron door buried deep beneath the city's 14th arrondissement, marked only by a stenciled number, 53. What lies behind it? No one knows for sure. The door is sealed. Wielded, but legend says behind that barrier lies something that predates the city, predates the bones, predates even the Romans. In 2004, Paris police patrolling the restricted tunnels stumbled upon something truly bizarre. They entered a chamber that wasn't on any map. Inside they found a fully functioning movie theater, a massive screen, dozens of seats carved into stone, a bar area, and even a working kitchen. The electricity came from hidden cables. The walls were decorated with strange symbols, none matching any gang tag or known urban group. But the strangest part, there was a note spray-painted in giant red letters across the stone: "Ne cherchez pas," do not search. The next time authorities returned to investigate further, the entire area had been walled off, blocked with fresh concrete from the inside. Let's talk about Jean-Louis Delorme, historian, theorist, obsessive. He spent 2 decades studying Paris's underground grid, but he wasn't interested in geology. Delorme believed the tunnel system was part of a larger pattern, one tied to ancient ley lines, Masonic architecture, and pre-Christian worship. He published 3 books, gave lectures. Then in 1996, he disappeared. Last seen entering the tunnels with 2 companions, only one returned. The survivor was incoherent, spoke of a chamber that breathed and light that moved like water. Authorities called it trauma, but Delorme was never found. The only clue, a photograph mailed anonymously to his publisher months later. It showed a door embedded in stone behind a ring of bones shaped like an eye. Burned into the door was a crude sigil, a hand with 6 fingers. And so the question remains, why are so many parts of the Paris underground erased from maps? Why are police unwilling to explore too deeply? And why do people keep disappearing in a city that claims to know every corner of itself? If this was just a forgotten network of tunnels, why does it keep pulling people in? Why do urban explorers speak of magnetic disorientation? Why do their compasses spin in certain chambers, even without metal nearby? Why do so many lose their sense of direction in the same exact locations, no matter how carefully they plan? One theory, dismissed by scientists, whispered by locals, is that the catacombs form a circuit, not a spiritual one, not a symbolic one, an actual energetic circuit built over centuries, or perhaps millennia. Proponents claim the placement of bones, the geometry of the tunnels, and the subterranean mineral composition all align to create a vast resonance chamber, amplifying unknown frequencies from deep within the earth. Some say these frequencies affect the human mind. Others say they open doors, not physical ones, but something far older, older than cities, older than language. Let's rewind to the 12th century. Before Paris was even Paris, there was Lutetia, a Roman settlement which itself was built over even older Celtic ruins. Priests of the Carnutes, a druidic order, were said to hold rituals in deep hollows beneath the Seine. According to fragments found in the Bibliothèque Nationale, these rites weren't offerings to gods, but communications with something beneath. One fragment reads, "Beneath the rivers lies the breath of the earth. The pale voice listens from the stone." Modern scholars ignore these accounts, but cataphiles don't. They speak of the Pale Ones, entities glimpsed in the deep corridors, human in outline, but wrong in proportions. Too tall, too silent, too old. Some believe these are hallucinations, triggered by carbon dioxide, but others say they've heard chanting echo from behind sealed walls. In 1981, a documentary crew set out to film a special on urban legends in Paris. They received special permission to film parts of the restricted catacombs, accompanied by police. 3 days into shooting, their lights began to fail one by one. Battery packs that were full in the morning drained by night. Sound equipment picked up static, followed by whispers in a language no one could identify. They returned to the surface shaken, with hours of corrupted footage. Only one scene survived, a slow pan across a narrow tunnel wall, revealing dozens of handprints, each with 6 fingers, each pressed into the stone as if burned there. The footage was shelved. The documentary never aired. The lead researcher, Céline Dumas, left academia the following year and vanished from public life. But perhaps the most disturbing story comes from 2013. A man going by the alias Lucien uploaded a series of images to an obscure cryptography forum. He claimed to have accessed Sector Delta 17, a collapsed portion of the catacombs sealed since 1941 during the Nazi occupation of Paris. Inside, he found remnants of what he described as a ritual bunker, symbols on the walls, rusty surgical tools, journals written in a mix of German and Latin, referring to something called Project Sanguinari, the project's goal, according to Lucien's translation, to pierce the layers of earth, to awaken the old voice, to harvest the root of fear. One journal entry read, "On the 21st day, the subject ceased responding. On the 22nd, it began speaking, in a voice not its own." The post was deleted within hours. Lucien never posted again. His IP traced back to a Parisian library, which claimed it had no public computers. Let's pause. Why are all these stories erased from the mainstream narrative? Why do police reports redact entire pages related to underground incidents? Why did the French government quietly pass a bill in 2018 allocating millions of euros to subterranean defense infrastructure mapping with no explanation? What are they defending against? Let's talk about sound. In recent years, sound engineers studying the catacombs have made a chilling discovery. Certain chambers exhibit acoustic properties unlike any known structure. Even without amplification, voices can echo for minutes. Some tones, when played, seem to vanish entirely, as if absorbed, but worse. Recordings taken in these zones sometimes capture extra voices, speaking beneath the original track, mimicking, repeating. Some in reverse, some distorted beyond comprehension. The phenomenon is known as acoustic mirroring, but in the catacombs, the mirror sometimes speaks back. The final piece of the puzzle may lie beneath Saint-Merry Church, near the center of Paris. Documents declassified in 2021 reveal that beneath this church lies a sealed vault, last opened in 1843. Inside, priests reportedly found human remains fused into the walls, hands extended outward as if trying to escape. The vault was resealed. The church never commented, but in the tunnels directly below, cataphiles have reported hearing organ music playing faintly, even when no churches above are in service, even at 3 a.m. So now we return to Port 53. The door with no lock, the door with no key. Only stories. Some say it's a remnant of the Philippe Auguste Wall, the old medieval boundary of the city. Others say it was built by the Freemasons in the 1800s as part of a forbidden rite. But one man, a cataphile named Julian, claimed something different. He said the door doesn't open, it moves. Each year, it shifts slightly through the tunnel system, never found in the same place twice, always near places. Where someone has vanished, Julian drew its symbol before he died in 2017, a spiral with an eye at its center. He left a final message in his notebook. The city is not what it seems. It is a shell. The real Paris is underneath, and it's still awake. What lies beneath Paris? Is it simply stone, bones, and silence? Or is it a machine, still pulsing with purpose? A cathedral of echoes, built by hands no longer human? calling. Back those who dare to listen, the catacombs are real. The tunnels are mapped, but only on the surface. The truth, that's still buried. And the next time you walk through the streets of Paris, listen closely. You might hear something whispering. From below,